call the Ellis County, Kansas Public Building Commission meeting to order at 8:30. So if can have Bobby call roll, please.
Member Nathan Liker,
Here.
President Neil Younger,
President, here, present. Sorry.
Member Michael Burgess.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, a motion to approve the prior minutes from January 13th of 2026.
Also move. They're looking.
Okay.
Seconded.
Then the PBC 2026-01 authorized the building project bond sale.
Good morning, PBC
Morning.
members. Darren Myers, project manager. Before you this morning is a consideration to authorize the sale of the bonds for the different projects that the commission has been reviewing over the last year. With us today is Larry Kleeman with Ranson Financial, our financial advisor, who's been working with Gilmore and Bell in regards to the documents that are attached to the agenda, as well as after this agenda, the county commission, which will also have a resolution if the commission does so proceed to further the sale of the bonds. And Mr. Kleeman can explain anything any further or answer any more detailed questions that you may have in regards to the process.
Yeah, I just add that this just, like Darren mentioned, authorizes us to offer for sale. Gilmore and Bell and our firm will work together with county staff to prepare the documents. Then we'll send them out and we'll collect bids actually the morning of March 9, the day before your county commission meeting next month. The documents today authorize Darren to approve the bids, assuming they meet certain parameters, under $11 million and under a certain interest rate. And then the next day, March 10, the PBC and the county will ratify that action. We'll plan to get this rated, just like we did, I think it was a 2020 bond. So that should help it sell well. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Again, we've gone over this a couple months ago. You passed a resolution. The protest period is passed, so you're fully authorized now to offer them for sale.
Did we have any commentary during that protest period?
Nothing.
Okay.
And I would add, just like last week, I think you wanted to include interest for the fall payment, so we adjusted the bond for that amount as well.
Okay.
So you won't have to budget until next year.
So the bids are due by 11 on March 9th.
Correct.
Will we know what any bids prior to that are? Do we?
So yeah, typically, folks sign up online. There's a website that most underwriters go to. So, and usually some will sign up a few days ahead of time. Several will probably sign up the day of in the morning. Usually it's kind of last minute when they get around to it. So by early morning, I can let Darren know how many have signed up. And sometimes we get some last minutes, a few minutes before the bond sale as well. So we've had between maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 bidders sometimes. It just kind of depends on the appetite for the day.
Okay. I have no further questions at this time.
If I could ask Darren just to go over like each one, what the bonds are going to be used for, just a short little sentence to clarify what's going on out in the public, what the public is thinking, what we're doing with some of these, just a short, brief thing.
I don't know if I can make it a short,
Yeah,
brief,
well-
one sentence thing, but I'll try and make a brief statement for each item. For several years now, approximately 4 years, the county commission has known that the Hayes Police Department is or was planning to build a new facility, and this is coming to terms with them. They should be out of our county facility October, November this year. And then once they vacate half of that facility, we would renovate it to remove office space and combine areas to expand the sheriff's department into their space to make it more efficient and functional for them. The second part is a emergency services building located in Ellis, not Hayes. I know that was a question that Commissioner got. This is not replacing the building in Hayes that was brand new, or I guess now about 12 years old, but this is for a facility over in Ellis to replace the EMS and fire station over there. That would be a project that would start in a year or two. The next is a courthouse HVAC redo. We're spending $20,000 to $30,000 a year on repairs for a system that's failing that can't keep the building heated, or occasionally we have to close the courthouse because it's too cold for employees to work. And it's just inefficient, and like I say, it just keeps breaking down. This building here, you can't see it in this room, but throughout the building, there's about 106 fan coil units, where we're estimating about 90 of those 100 and some fan coil units need to be replaced because they're leaking fluids through valves and through their condensers into the ceiling tile, creating the water stains throughout the entire building. And then the last, I think that was it.
Storage building.
Well, yeah, and the fire storage building up at the County Public Works building, that is kind of a placeholder, as if funds would allow at the end of the project, that would be something that is considered to be a part of the bond. However, that is also, we're trying to work with a local grant, a foundation to get a grant with that, as well as some federal funding out in DC to assist with that, which could eliminate that project completely. So there's a placeholder for that, but really no funds set aside for it at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, at this time, I'd move to approve Resolution 2026-01, authorizing the sale of bonds for the building improvement projects.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay. No executive sessions, correct? Okay. The Public Building Commission meeting will adjourn at 8:37. Okay, good morning, everyone. Like to call the meeting for Tuesday, February the 3rd, to order for Ellis County Commission. If we can all stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if Bobby can call roll, please.
Commissioner Nathan Liker,
Here.
Chair Neil Younger,
Here.
Commissioner Michael Burgess.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, the order of business. Any changes that you guys have? I have one that Brandon would like to move up behind noxious weeds because he's got another meeting to attend,
Okay.
so we'll move 10 up behind 8. Okay. Prior minutes?
Look good to me.
Yep, look good.
Okay. The consent agenda?
I'll move. Go ahead.
I'll move to approve consent agenda items A through G.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Issues from people not on the order of business. I believe we have one.
Uh, My name is Mike Worth. I'm a property tax payer on southwest part of the county, and I'm going to speak a little bit on the solar farm. I went to the solar farm Q&A thing over at Gella's probably a couple weeks ago, and just got a few more answers. I mean, it's been a very non-transparent thing so far, so we're just kind of learning as we go. I was made aware that the solar farm said that because we're going from an ag to a commercial tax on the Bedford property. They actually told me that the Bedfords are still going to pay like the ag rate, and anything over that, the solar farm was going to pay to meet that commercial rate. I didn't know if the commissioners had asked any of those questions, but I found that kind of curious because nobody knew about it. So just put that one up there. I guess my biggest question is, after your 10-year tax abatement, before you start taxing the infrastructure, I don't know, can you guys require them to be the owners after 10 years? Or are they just gonna, as soon as they get what they can out of this, just put it up for the highest bid? Just kind of curious about that, because I mean, we've all seen some of the 10-year deals, like the city of Hayes had went through with like the NEW building and the scaffolding, A1 plank. I mean, they just kind of went to the same thing. They got those first 10 years in, and then they were either A1 plank, they downsized to nothing, and luckily they got wheelchairs to come in, but new just went away. So it just, that part worries me about the integrity of the company and if they're really committed to the community or not. One of the other guys that I talked to, he was actually employed by that transmission line that comes from Spearville. He was employed by them, and now he works for the solar farm. And I'm like, great, you're just the guy I need to talk to. I asked him, I said, well, Spearville down there right now is, and they have been for quite a few years because they've been there for 20 years. So they're replacing the heads on all those turbines down there, and they're way more efficient than the originals. So that transmission line is humming. A lot of times they just have to shut them off down in Spearville because they can't push enough into that line. So I asked him that. I says, well, if that line is completely full, how does the efficiency of the solar farm come into play? I'm like, it's already all night long, so you got 50% of it that it's not efficient. Then it's going to have to wait for the wind not to blow. I don't know how that works with the transmission line owners that's going to let them actually put power into it. And the guy told me that, he says, all we did was we applied for 175, I'm not for sure what unit it is, a permit to get into that line. And as far as how much efficient we are to where we're going to feed it, we really don't care. Because the owners of the transmission line dictate who gets to sell power to it. So, do a little calculating. I mean, we're looking at possibly 15 to 20% efficiency on this solar farm. That's a lot of taxpayer money going into something that I asked him, I was like, in reality, I said, we're gonna need another transmission line. And I said, and then you won't be in the right place. So why not plan on a transmission line before you're already plugging into something that's already full. I realize that this solar farm is trying to get these last dollars out of this green energy bill that are out there. And they're trying to get it because they know if they don't, it's going to be gone. So time is not on their side, but it's just, I don't know, it's a little sketchy. The other thing I saw when I was on there was one of their maps. And it was to the south of Keith Bonnett's house, who's probably the biggest opponent of this. And it had blue all the way up in there. And I asked him, I said, that's floodplain, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what's your offsets? Same as the residential, same as everything else. I said, you're kidding me, right? Nope. I know the county, when it came to the wind turbines, when they came in, I think you guys are the ones that dictated the offsets. I think. Not positive on that. But a lot of that kind of spread out. And he told me, he said, if we have to offset that water, that watershed, that floodplain by a quarter mile, by a half mile, like the wind turbines, he said, we won't do this project. So I don't know, that part of it, I don't know if they tried pushing this through maybe a little too fast. When I spoke to NRCS, when I spoke to Fish and Game, I was basically told, and these are the working guys. These are not the uppers. They were told to be quiet about this, not to give your opinion about this. Fish and Game is furious about it, and came from the state level down. And to me, that's being a little intimidated. And I don't think we should have that. I don't know if Ellis County wants to be part of that. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
okay. Introduction to new and promoted employees. Jennifer?
Good morning,
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
Jennifer Taylor, Ellis County HR, and as you see behind me, we have quite a few new employees or promoted employees. A lot of great movement and bringing people in, and probably the number of people that I have behind me it should be doubled. It's just they're working, unavailable to get over here, but I will let their department heads or supervisors introduce them.
Good morning. First I'm going to introduce, we already know, Tara Clement. She started working with me a year ago, and she just got promoted in November of last year to my deputy clerk after my deputy clerk retired.
Congratulations.
She's
Very
been a
good,
great
very good.
asset.
Thank you.
I have Janet Huguenin. I'm sorry, and she started with me almost a month ago, and she's been a great asset and has been fitting in great and doing really well. So this is Janet.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
And my last new employee, this is Nora Urban. She hails from Decatur County. She's bringing a lot of experience to my office because she was a prior county clerk since 2017, then also had 20 years of experience with Decatur County. So I feel very fortunate, as I think we all should, that she's on board with us.
Very good.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Eugene,
Morning.
Ellis County Appraiser. I'd like to introduce Luke Warren to you. He's been with our office a little over a year. He had prior experience in the appraisal world in Trigo County prior to coming to Ellis County. And I believe it was in November of last year, he received his registered mass appraiser designation. That's no small feat to get to that point. That requires hundreds and hundreds of hours of education and over 6,000 hours of mass appraisal experience to get to that point. So a lot of hard work went into it. And with that, we have promoted him to an appraiser 3 position in our office. So again, congratulations to Luke on both his promotion and the registered mass appraiser designation. And then we also have a new employee in our office. This is Isaac Zimmerman. He just joined us last week. He's going to be starting as an appraiser 1, and we're expecting great things out of him.
Very
Welcome.
good. Well, welcome.
And
Congratulations.
Morning.
I'm trained to move the mic up. So anyway, Scott Brown, Ellis County Sheriff, and it's my privilege to introduce Ty McCulloch, who's been with us for approximately 10 years. He is being promoted to a Deputy 2, which gives him, when our sergeants aren't working, he now becomes a supervisor in that role when he's had to take a class. It's not just a give me with time. He had to sit through and write papers and those types of things to show that he understands supervisory skills, and built those and was successful. We also had Wade Park, who is not here. He also did the same thing, and he's being promoted to a Deputy 2 as well. We've got jury trials going on today, so everybody's tied up today. So it's kind of a big thing. And then Lucas Hecker is one of our sergeants in the jail. He is being transferred to the road as a Deputy 1 now, and he will be attending KLETC here shortly. I think within a month or so. I don't remember what the date is exactly. So he will be one of the newest deputies on the road. And then last but not least is Dawson Adam. He just started this week. So he was unable to attend, so we're trying to get him trained up there. But we're excited to have him as our newest detention officer. So those would be the new employees or transfers or promotions that we have currently going on. Thank
Very
you,
good.
Commissioners.
Good. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. Gary Haas, Weed Control Supervisor. The Noxious Weed Department, it's proud to promote Mark Liker, who's completed his training and his testing for commercial applicator licensing class 9A and 6. And it took 3 tests to do that, and he did a great job, and it's not easy. And now he's in 2 weeks, he's going to go to basic training school for Weed Department. So he's got some more coming up.
Okay.
Very
Well,
good.
good deal. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, next we have the High Plains Mental Health update. Craig?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Morning.
morning.
I've got a handout for you this morning as well. So just want to provide a brief update. We are continuing to have some delays with our construction project with the CIC, but wanted to give you some confidence that we are moving forward. Door frames are going up and paint is going on the walls, and it's really starting to look like a facility. If any of you are interested in seeing it, certainly reach out to our office and we'll make sure and get you to walk through. But definitely as it gets finished up, we're still hopeful for a timeline of the end of March, early April, that they will give us the keys and we'll begin to allow some of the community in to see the facility, potentially even do some drills with ambulance, EMS, fire, maybe even a active shooter training or bomb threat or something to that effect for drill purposes. But we know this facility is long overdue. We're looking to provide the community with all the resources that it will provide. Again, this Crisis Intervention Center is going to serve 23 different client rooms, 16 of those being beds. and we hope to impact, if not eliminate, the wait list at Larned State Hospital. So if an individual meets the criteria to go into a state hospital, but there's a wait list, our facility will be able to bring them in and give them therapeutic and psychiatric care right here in Hayes. And the impact that will have is really immeasurable, but individuals are often waiting anywhere from 2 or 3 days to up to 2 weeks in a jail cell or a hospital bed, and getting them the treatment right away. Facilities like this in other parts of the state are seeing them stay for a much shorter time period and seeing over a 90% diversion rate, meaning they don't go on to a state hospital because they get the treatment they need right there locally and are able to go back to their family and friends. And so we're hopeful for the same outcomes. We have about 30% of the staff hired. Some of the start and stop with the construction has helped in an odd way, because we get people hired on and then we continue to keep them employed, knowing that we are going to need them when we get to that open date. The goal is to open May 4th. For anybody that's out into the weeds with that date, you can dress up and show up at the grand opening for May the 4th if you'd like. But beyond that, the handout that I gave to you, and certainly want to ask if you have any questions or thoughts on what we're doing. But the county funding model is something we do every year. I'm just giving you an early look at that. It has not gone through final board approval, but just the way that's calculated with the 6 county factors. Wanted to give you an idea how that's dispersed among the 20 counties, and it was discussed at our last board meeting, and just wanted to give you an early opportunity to see that. We do plan to go at the same level for CIC funding since we did not open. When opening in May, we don't have any more numbers than the adult screens that we used in the past. And so we'll look at the same funding model for the CIC funding as well. And that'll go through board approval and certainly get that out to you as it's approved. Other than that, looking forward to representing Ellis County and Hayes at the annual DC trip as well. Look forward to spending some time with some of you and advocating for our facility with the legislators in DC. So, thank you for your time.
Very good. Well, thank you, Craig. Appreciate it, and look forward to seeing it open finally.
Yeah, me too.
You answered my question. I was gonna ask about the staff, but good. Good.
We're
deal.
getting there. If you know anybody that wants to work in mental health, though, we got plenty of positions left.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you,
Okay,
Craig.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the building project bond sale authorization resolution. Larry?
Good morning again. As you're
Morning.
aware, the PBC and the county kind of work hand in hand. PBC issues the bonds, but they rely on the county to pay the debt service on the bonds. So this basically is the county saying, yes, we agree to enter into a lease with the PBC to pay the bonds, just assuring the PBC that they go ahead and issue the bonds. So this is the county's action today to authorize the sale of the bonds for next month as well. Happy to answer any questions.
We're looking at 20-year bonds, right? I didn't.
Yeah, I think that's what we had. I can grab my sheet
That's-
at my chair, but yeah.
Can the bids be different than that? I mean, it could-
No, it's just one bid form they need to fill out and buy all the bonds. It's typically how we structure these.
Darren, I want you to build on your earlier about the projects, what projects we're doing, but go into, because you can speak to a little bit better. Again, we're not anticipating having to raise property tax for this. We've been planning for various avenues to help pay these off without having to raise our property taxes. If you would go through that a little bit for us.
That's correct. And I should have added that on to the discussion we had a little bit ago. I was thinking about it, but then I got sidetracked about which one of the 5 projects that we were to discuss. I know that's one of the questions that the commissioners have been getting in regards to these projects. Is it's easy for the public to assume that we're going to increase property taxes, increase the mill levy, essentially the amount of taxes that we collect to pay for these bonds over the next 20 years. We've been working on this for over a year now to be able to create a plan so that way property taxes would not be raised or additional taxes collected to pay for this. And the way that is being done is by using savings that we've been putting aside for this, as well as sales tax that has been collected that we've been saving for projects like this, as well as the 2020 bond that we had talked about previously that does expire here in a couple years. So what that plan is although we don't know the exact amounts of what the annual principal and interest payments would be, but we're expecting it to be roughly about $750,000, give or take, and we won't know that exactly until next month. But those plans, the money's been set aside so that way we have the next 4 years of funds available to pay for these bonds. Part of that is because we've been saving up for these projects that we know that they've been needing to get done. So the first year, for example, is when we sold the county public works building out on 280th. We put that money aside, specifically reserved for the remodel or for the payment of the remodel of the law enforcement center. And then through the funds that we've been setting aside for the for the work at this building, for essentially the fan coil units, as well as starting to put money aside for the HVAC. We have money set aside in our capital improvement plan to pay for another year of that. And then we have 3 years of funds set aside for payments that we've been collecting over the last several years. I guess it'd be 6 years, 5.5 years for the sales tax that was collected for emergency services and healthcare. That would be able to use to pay for the EMS facility over in Ellis. And then about that time, 2030 is our last bond payment for the 2020 bond that we took out for the Northwest Business Corridor project. That would be the last payment for that. So in 2030, that payment goes away, and then we would then use those funds that were used for that payment for this. And so then that would then carry us on into the future. And without having to, like I say, to raise or increase property taxes specific for these bond purposes. Hopefully that explains that over the next couple of years. Good
And
for
several
you.
of these are on our capital projects that we were looking at anyway, that we'd be saving for and trying to put towards, but we're just kind of moving that whole capital project forward with one bond. Hopefully, again, the idea would be paying for things now a little bit cheaper than what maybe the future cost of these projects would be.
Correct. And then not just moving them forward, but trying to reduce the risk of something failing and then be at short term where the courthouse would have to be shut down for a whole winter because it would take months to go out for bid process and order and receive equipment to be able to replace it. That's one of the other concerns there too, is not just removing that from our capital plans, our 10-year capital plan for those projects, but eliminating the risk of something catastrophic happening as well.
If we weren't doing this, I think we had projected out it would take us up to 30 years to get these projects completed.
Correct. If you took the fire service project out, it was going to take us at the level that we have funding set aside now for these projects with the money that we had over collected. $11 million at $250,000 a year is what we're setting aside. It'll be almost 40 years. But we had some of that money set aside already, which would reduce it down to about 30 years to get the money set aside at today's rate to be able to do all these projects over time throughout those 30 years.
Okay.
I'm not gonna pick on the city of Ellis, but an example of catastrophic is over at their council meeting last night. The heaters for their administrative building have all failed. And so they're going to emergency bid this week to replace all their HVAC system over there. So the idea that our courthouse could have a failure like that and then we're out months is one of those things we need to try to avoid.
Courthouse is a very good example of a compounding problem that would come from that. As the sheriff spoke, jury trials. If we would have to remove all of the court staff, all of the sheriff's staff, the county attorney, the county or the district court or clerks and all them, there's other factors that we would be paying more dollars on. I'm not sure how much it would be to relocate jury trials and then have them housed in other locations or out of county. I don't know if I could actually put a figure on that, but I know it wouldn't be cheap, and depending on how much time that would take, that could add into that expense quite a bit as well.
And when I was in the contract world like that, when there was emergency, it was like there was a open checkbook because they knew it needed to be done. So I'd rather be proactive at this and get it taken care of.
Okay, well, with that, I will move to approve resolution 2026-05, authorizing the sale of the building project bonds with the Ellis County Public Building Commission. Do we need to have a separate motion to allow Darren to sign on the 9th? Okay, well, then I will, with included in that motion to allow Darren to have signatory authority on the bond process on March 9th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay.
I would just, I know Larry's probably going to leave before we get done with the meeting, et cetera, but I will state that working with Larry and his group at Ranson Financial, as well as his contact points at Gilmore and Bell, very responsive and get back with us right away on questions and documents and everything to prepare us through this. So in case
Thank
I
you,
forget
Larry.
next
Thank
month,
you.
thank you.
Okay. KDOT noxious weed contact, Mr. Gary.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Gary Haas, Weed Control Supervisor. I'm here today with our 2026 county agreement to treat noxious weeds for KDOT. With this agreement, we spray I-70, 183, the bypass, the right-of-ways on those. We take care of guardrail spraying for them, their service yard, and their radio tower sites. After reviewing our current cost of wages, benefits, fuel, equipment costs, and conferring with other county weed departments regarding their rates, I recommend that we raise our labor rates to $45 an hour for the labor, the truck sprayer rates at $45 an hour, and our UTV sprayer rate to $30 per hour. Our 3-year average has amounted to $9,030 worth of revenue doing spraying for KDOT. And during the last 2 years of that, we've kind of been short-staffed during the spray season. And so I'm hoping this year we're going to be full staff. And they would like us to do a lot more guardrail spraying. And you know, we want to do that and we'll still keep up with all our county and city work that we also do.
Are you able to start some of that work early, like in this
Yeah,
time frame where
The
it's
guardrail work and stuff, which is a pre-emerge, yeah,
Right.
we'll start that early here in March is what, we're gonna try to keep going on our tree cutting that we're doing here for the rest of February and then we're gonna switch over to spraying.
okay?
So you said more guardrails, so what were we not doing all of theirs?
I
or-
was only doing the ones that have AB3 rock on them, which is in the eastern part of the county.
Okay,
And they want to do less trimming, so they want me to do the others, even though there's probably going to be erosion issues on it, but they say once we do it, they'll start putting the AB3 rock on it, so they want us to continue at it.
all right.
And that one's fairly labor intensive because of the traffic on
Yes.
I-70. We have to have a lot of blockage and, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just curious how this kind of works more than anything. So we just charge them when we actually go out and
Yes.
do the work. So it's not like a flat contract and we're gonna do that. It's
No.
when we go out.
It's by however much work we do. I mean, and it changes even the amount of, how much in the fall we go back and do bindweed spraying, and that's different every year. And
So if
just-
we're short on labor,
yeah,
it kind of,
I'll,
I guess, how do you?
yeah, I mean,
manage?
I'll do everything that I have to do, but there's more I could do if we have the labor to do it. But I don't want to shortchange the county
Yeah.
or the other jobs that we need to
Agree
do.
with that, if you have to kind of prioritize one thing
Yeah.
over the other. So I was just kind of curious how that worked as far as, if it's, I guess by the time or hour we do it, then that makes sense. If it was a flat contract, I'd be a little more concerned that we're actually making
Right.
sure completing the contract.
Yeah,
But
I've never had any complaints from them. They're always happy with what we do, but I mean, it's just really been in the last year that they really want us to get after the guardrails.
Yeah.
Do you think those prices with the cost of today's equipment are feasible, or should they be higher?
Labor, I want to stay, okay, we use the same rates when we're doing work for the city and for private. I want to keep them pretty close to the cost, our actual cost. So the labor is, I'm taking our personnel budget and dividing that out amongst the year and coming up with that,
Okay.
which is really close. I think I'm 42.52 or something like that is what our labor cost is with benefits. Equipment, it's hard to find. We've used FEMA rates, which like Public Works uses for a lot of the stuff. We use FEMA rates for our equipment. About the closest thing I could find to a spray truck would be a 80-barrel water truck, which the trucks cost a lot more than what our trucks do. We do have way more equipment inside it. So,
Mhm.
but as for, I think I'm close, on that.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I
I want
guess-
to keep it, we also do with those labor rates and equipment rates, noxious weed enforcement and stuff. We try to help people out. There's a whole lot of areas that an airplane can't come in and spray, like stuff close to haze or places they can't do it. And there isn't anybody else out there that does that type of spraying. And so I want to still be affordable to be able to be a service to the people to take care of that for them.
Okay.
Do you see this being a yearly thing instead of waiting for 23 or not? So it ain't such a hard hit?
We could,
Okay,
yeah, we could try to bump it every year.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, if we just add in a percentage adjustment for the next 3 years and then totally adjust it after a 3-year period.
Yeah.
Just do it like a 3% riser annually for the next 3 years and then come back in and renegotiate.
Yeah.
Probably keep us close.
Yeah, that would be good.
Any idea what kind of time you're getting in, like the guardrails and for KDOT comparing to the city? Or is that pretty tough to do with the
I
wind
could
and-
tell you if I had that in front of me back at the office, I could,
Okay.
what we build out for them, but yeah. But I can't
Okay.
right now.
Well,
Any other discussion?
could we add in that 3% adjustment
Yeah.
in this contract as is?
No, that'd be nice. That'd be good.
Okay, well, then I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 KDOT Department of Transportation Bureau of Maintenance County Agreement to treat noxious weeds contract and authorize commission chair to sign with a 3% annual adjustment to the costs associated with this contract.
Thank you.
second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, we will bring Brandon up next. This is where our change was at, so.
Morning, Commissioners. Brandon
Morning.
McKay, Ellis County Public Works Director. So before you is the agreement for another grant from KDOT that we have successfully applied for. There's a lot of acronyms with KDOT. There's the High Risk Rural Road, which we've applied for in the past. This is the High Risk Urban Road. This was a new program that was developed last fall. It's for urban boundary areas, so a lot of them are meant for cities. Ellis County had 2 eligible locations that we successfully applied for. This is down at the Wise on Old 40, and then up at the intersection of 270th and Airbase or Commerce Parkway, 27th Street. With that, it is changing signing, updating the signs, making them larger, as well as some thermoplastics along the roadway, and advance warning notices to the intersection and stop signs. So this project will supply the county with all the materials, and as part of the agreement, once the county receives the materials, we have 6 months to install said equipment, and then it's on us to maintain and replace as it wears out. So those intersections already have oversized stop signs, so they will be even larger than standard stop signs if the commission approves this.
Any questions? concerns?
I have none. It's just for stop signs and the plastic sticks in the ground.
The stop stakes or
Yeah.
stop bars and advanced warning signs at the intersection and stop head signs.
Gotcha. Which a lot of that already, some of that already exists on
All
27.
of this stuff already exists. This is just over increasing the size of them.
Okay. Well, I'll move the commission accept and sign the KDOT high-risk urban road program agreement.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Brandon. Okay. Next, will be the, solar farm reimbursement agreement. Mr. Darren?
Morning, Commissioners. Darren Myers, County Administrator. Yeah, the next item is to consider agreements with three different parts. The first agreement would be between the Ellis County Commission and IBV or Tallgrass Development. That would essentially create an agreement for an escrow account to be created, and IBV put funds into that to cover the cost that Ellis County would incur for consulting and legal fees as we work through the different agreements that we would need to consider as the commission considers the project moving forward. Those items would be the conditional use permit and its resolution and documents associated with it, a potential pilot payment or payment in lieu of taxes, road use agreements, the interconnection agreements and an analysis of that when then they provide power, a interconnection study agreement, decommissioning plan, the emergency services plan that will be out there, and I think that would pretty close to being all of them. But all those different agreements that are going to come part of this if the commission continues to want to go forward with it. IBV has agreed to reimburse the county for these expenses since Ellis County has not budgeted or would not incur these expenses if this project wasn't being proposed in Ellis County. The second agreement, if you agreed to the first, would be then to enter into an engagement letter or an agreement with Folston Law Office out of Wichita. They would assist Mr. Jeter and staff in regards to review and providing these documentation as we work through and negotiate, so to speak, with the Tallgrass development. The third piece then is with AcreStrong, which is an independent consultant agency that has experience in the solar and wind energy that would help Ellis County navigate through the goods and the bads, the ups and the downs, what the county commission may not know in regards to the solar specific type projects in Ellis County. So if we enter into the agreement first with the Tallgrass development to reimburse, those reimbursements would be then used to pay for Folston and AcreStrong, so that Ellis County wouldn't incur any expenses with that. And then in regards to Mr. Worth being here, if you would like Mr. Link with the Tallgrass development, which you've met and discussed several times, he is in the audience too. If you do have any questions that you would like introduced, he did say that he would be willing to come up and speak and answer any additional questions that you may have. And then obviously, if you have any other questions in regards to the agreements or the process of where we're at now, I would be able to answer those questions as well. And one last comment that the commission did want me to make is by entering into these agreements, this does not commit Ellis County to proceed anything or give any intent that we are approving any conditional use permits, resolutions, or anything into the future. Just helps prepare Ellis County staff, assistance with Mr. Jeter, as well as the commission to make put our best step forward in working through these agreements and documents.
This is providing legal expertise where we are not experts. or this is providing expertise, period, in a field that none of us up here are experts in, is what we're looking towards.
The attorneys that we have with Folston, the specific attorney that we've been discussing these items with prior to this agreement, she has over 25 years of experience in legal consulting for wind and solar farms in Kansas.
If he would like to address any of the questions that Mike had,
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. My name is Steve Link with Tallgrass Development. I'd just like to touch on a couple things that Mr. Wirt mentioned. In our long-term lease agreements, we do stipulate that if there's any change in zoning on a solar agreement, the company, the project would be on the hook, would pay that so that landowners can keep the land in their name. At the end of these long-term lease agreements, this land goes back to the landowner in a restored state, and they pick that back up. If there was a change in zoning due to that solar farm, then that would be reverted back to agriculture at the end of that long-term lease. So that's the reason we stipulate the landowner keeps paying their taxes at their ag rate. If there is a change in taxation from the county, the project would pick that up, and that's just fair to the landowner. And then it allows them to revert back to agricultural use at decommissioning restoration at the end of the operations of the solar farm. As far as transfer of ownership after 10 years, these projects are financed and built for long-term power purchase agreements. The reason for the 10-year pilot is so that we're paying directly into Ellis County. At the end of that 10-year period, the property's taxed at the state real and personal property rate. So that 10-year is not a point where we would change ownership. I mean, the 10-year is an agreement, a financial agreement that would be made with the county. After that, we go into the normal state taxation treatment for solar facilities in Kansas. As far as injection capacity, this is studied well in advance. There's some really forward-looking studies where we look at curtailment risk, as Mr. Wirt mentioned. If the wind is blowing great at night at a certain rate, that's the best power for off-takers to use. In a nice sunny day like today, once that solar picks up that solar panel picks up the sun and starts tracking it, it provides a really low cost of power. And as a whole, SPP, which is the grid operator, Southwest Power Pool, they put this power up there for a day ahead purchasing. So power is not bought, even though we have a contract. Utilities do a day ahead look, and they get the right mix of power coming in, and a lot of it is based on price, availability. If the wind's not blowing, of course, they want to go to it. So these projects are studied, solar facilities are studied for that curtailment risk. There is that curtailment risk, and the grid operator uses the best practices and the best looks ahead for determining what the power output would be on the grid that day. The transmission line is 345 kV line, kind of a high capacity line. It goes to a substation and gets distributed. So we look at that. That's part of our modeling to make sure that those curtailment risks exist, and those are accounted for in our financial modeling. Wind turbines are getting higher and higher. 600 foot is common now, going up higher. And so they have some tremendous setbacks from wetlands. We cannot and will not encroach on wetlands. We use county as a minimum setbacks, and then we go further from that to ensure that we are not triggering any federal level permitting. If we encroach on any setback, on any wetlands, then we trigger some really tough permits that take quite a while with the federal government. So that is not our intent, and we always use at a minimum the county setbacks that are established in the ordinance from residences, from wetlands, from roads, and any building. So we have exceeded that setback requirement, and we that's part of our layout. Our first intent is to avoid triggering any permitting or getting within that setback. And we have all the diligence, environmental diligence reports from that. I can't speak about any working staff being told to stay quiet. I don't understand that one at all. But as a whole, we do complete financial modeling on this project. We know what the curtailment risks are. We know what we forecast what we think our taxation will look like, and that's for the long term. These projects are in service for 35 to 40 years, so we're not looking at just a 10-year pilot there. So if there are any items you'd like me to touch on, but I'd just like to say thanks for the opportunity to work. I like Mr. Wirt's comments, but we do study these before. They're very pricey projects, so we do study all the risks involved with these before we bring them to market.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One item the commission did ask me to want to speak on this morning too is just there may be a little bit of confusion out in the public. There are no county taxpayer dollars or subsidies or any money in our county budgets that's going to fund, offset, subsidize any of this. Any subsidies that they may get or tax incentives that they may get are not from Ellis County. Those are all either coming from state or federal government. The 10-year pilot payment that may or may not be agreed upon, that's at a future commission agenda. We're still working through that. By state statute, they have a 10-year tax abatement. That means if this project were to be signed today, they would have 10 years of not having to pay tax legally in accordance to state statute. It is their intent, which they have offered, to provide a pilot payment and work with us on what that pilot payment may be, that they would then essentially pay those taxes in lieu of a pilot payment over the next 10 years. So we're not, that's something the commission wanted me to express, is there's no county funds going towards this project. We just have time and working through to make sure that we're getting all of these documents and information put together and brought forth for the county commission.
Again, that's why we have a way we have to do if we accept these agreements, is that way it takes our county dollars off the table. We're not going to pay for these expert services.
Correct. Now that's something that also IBV did not have to do. We had asked them to do that, and they are reimbursing these expenses. It is estimated that it is up to $110,000 for these. And that all depends on the time and negotiation and how much back and forth that we go on all these legal documents. As the commission knows, legal documents get lengthy, and there's a lot of discussions that a lot of attorneys have that will be discussed on both sides of this. It does essentially have a cap of 110,000, but once we start getting to that point, if the negotiations are taking longer or we have more time to have to work through this, the negotiations would essentially stop. Work would not be conducted. So that at that point, we'd have to make contact with the Tallgrass Development for them to authorize additional payments for us to continue to work on through this. But I on behalf, I guess, so to speak, with Tallgrass, they don't want to give us an open checkbook either. They want to try to set some parameters so that we don't hire some legal firm that's going to cost millions of dollars, so to speak, and nor do we necessarily want that. We just want the appropriate representation to ensure the county is protected as we move through this process.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Worth, did you get your questions answered? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, my comments are just a couple comments. One, yes, I think we need to contract with professional attorneys and services like Acre Strong that is in this field to provide us some guidance, not only guidance on, making sure that we get the best thing if we prove it, but also guidance if there are red flags that maybe we're not we're not seeing right now. Their expertise, I will hopefully bring out some of those things that allow us to make the best decision. And it allows us, again, Mike, I appreciate you coming and raising some more questions. These are questions that some of us, I may not be able to answer directly because I don't have the professional expertise, but then again, having a contract here, these are things that we can raise with them, and then they can help us get those answers a little bit more thoroughly. So, again, it doesn't obligate us to anything. This is not a pilot payment in itself. It's not telling us that we're agreeing to a CUP. This is helping us figure out if we want to make those next steps. So I think it's worthwhile, and from our standpoint, we don't have to pay for it. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I may add another comment, kind of as an example to Commissioner Burgess's example there. I did have a commissioner reach out. We had a local business that has oil and gas pipelines that has a similar name to what this development is being listed as, and they wanted to make clarification that Tallgrass pipeline service is not part of this solar farm, and they wanted to make sure that IBV as well as the Tallgrass Development LLC was aware that there is another similar type name project. Folston has already researched that, has looked at the Tallgrass Development doing business within the state of Kansas, which they have been registered with the state of Kansas, and their name is officially registered, as well as their parent company, which is goes back to Delaware, I believe. Those have all been research approved, and we had prior to already with conversations with IBV and the Tallgrass, they are aware of that. There's nothing illegal or inappropriate about that. If I remember right, there were 2 or 3 others that have very similar type names throughout the state of Kansas. So that's just an option that they have on their name. And that's one of the questions that we get that are random, that this attorney's office does do background checks and look at their financial and history and records and legal backgrounds as well.
And this contract in front of us, who prepared this for us to sign? Was this from Bolston?
For the initial agreement for IBV, we started with a sample document that IBV have used in the past. Folston has taken that and reworked it into this document. They did most of the legwork for that agreement, and then between Folston and the IBV attorneys, they've worked together to get this final document.
Okay.
And if the commissioner remembers, this was on the prior commission meeting. We were hoping that we had those final, both sides in final agreement onto those. There's one little clause in there that they were discussing back and forth. We didn't have the final document to the commission in time for us to review, so that's why it got pushed back to this meeting today.
Okay, with that, I will move to approve and have the commission and/or commission chair sign the attached agreements with Tallgrass Development LLC, Folston Attorneys, and Acre Strong LLC to assist with the Tallgrass Development Solar Farm project review, documentation, and negotiations.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. Any other discussion?
So with approval of today, this goes into effect today, or they can.
Correct. We have the IBV contract, or Tallgrass, that has been digitally signed because they were out of country last week for training and meetings. Mr. Link is getting the original contracts signed, the originals, 2 copies to us, which we'll get back to the commission to sign, but at least that one will be fully executed today, and the other ones will be turned into Folston and Acre Strong, and we'll get their signatures and returned back to us. But it will go into effect today, and then I'll start working with, we got some, Mr. Jeter and I have some communications with Folston and setting up the escrow account and getting that set up, that we'll work with IBV to get those funds in there.
Okay, and Darren, thanks for doing the homework. I was the one that got the phone call from Tallgrass. In fact, I worked with the guy in my past job, so we knew each other, and he pretty well, told me what was going on, and Darren's got that all clarified, so. Okay, any other discussion, commissioners?
I have none.
Okay.
Not at this time. And
Okay.
like I said, this
Yeah,
is,
it'll-
this is not accepting the
Nope, it is
project.
not.
It's,
No, it
it's
is
just
not. Okay.
protecting us.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay.
Now the most controversial item of the day.
Yep. And we will have Bobby, she's getting our kids involved in, in some competition, which is great for our community, get them so they can vote.
All right,
So-
Bobby Riley, an election official. I just want to bring it out for the public and for the commissioners to see that I'm going to do an I Voted sticker contest. This idea was presented to me last year when I was going through election certification classes, and the Sedgwick County Election Commissioner was saying that she started this the year before. And I thought, well, what better way is it to get our kids involved? Where does it cost the county any money? My time is free. In essence, and I thought, well, this would be a great way for our youth to go ahead and get involved and create a sticker. So I did send it all out to USD 388, 432, and 49, as well as TMP Marion. I sent it all to the, what do you call it, superintendents. I did hear back from 49, said they received it and they would pass it on. I also heard back from USD 432. As a matter of fact, I'm very good friends with the art teacher, and she actually sent me a text yesterday and showed me one of the students' sticker design already. So she said that they were really excited, and she basically said that they're going to win the contest. I'm like, well, we'll see. But anyway, the contest will close March 16th, and at that time, I will hopefully just get some of the employees here with the county to form a team to go ahead and go through and pick out the top 3 winners. And then I will have them all come to a future commission meeting, and at that time I would announce the actual winner of the contest. And so they're going to get a little recognition and be able to display their designs at a commission meeting.
Very
So
good.
insofar as the money that's involved in this is a budgeted item that I budget for every year for stickers anyway. And I'm using our local supplier here, Josh with Northwestern Printers, who's going to do them for me. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till the designs start coming in. And I know the Sedgwick County Election Commissioner said it took the second year. She said the first year, obviously, we're looking at Sedgwick County. They had 127 submissions. So I hope I get a lot. Like I said, I'm excited about it. And, you know, it's going to be able to be displayed. You know, everybody that comes and vote for the midterms this year will get a sticker made by one of our Ellis County kids.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So.
You know, if you give them an ice cream cone or something, they'd probably really be a lot of them in there that enter.
So anyway, little lighter subject. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I
It
just
is.
want to kind of get it out there to the public, and hopefully the schools are doing their thing. Well, some of you guys have kids in
Mhm.
school. Have they commented that they've gotten this?
I have not heard from mine at 489 yet.
Okay.
And I'll be at TMP next week, I believe.
Well, hopefully
No,
they're gonna
Thursday. I'll
bring
be
it
at TMP
home.
on Thursday. I will ask.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, my Moby teenager has not brought anything up to me, but he doesn't bring too much to me.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, County Administrator report?
Just one quick little thing. As the commission has known over the last couple of years, we have worked together with the Ellis County, or with the voters, to approve a Ellis County Library District in lieu of a long-term plan of exiting out of the Central Kansas Library System to create our own library district. As the commission is aware, if you remember the numbers, we collect, as part of that CKLS library system, hundreds of thousands of dollars in local property taxes, a little over 300,000. But yet, when those taxes are taken to the CKLS system and came back to our local libraries, which is the City of Hayes and Ellis Libraries, we only get about a third of that local tax dollar back. And those other funds are either kept with the CKLS system and distributed as they see fit. I'll be in Topeka, leaving here later this afternoon and testifying, and we submit written testimony, as well as with some partnerships out in Saline County to testify in regards to the bill to reduce that 2-year double taxation that we're having to face, with the ultimate end date of that then being reviewed by the State Library Board to determine if there's any manifest harm, which is not defined in state statute of what that may be, to allow us to remove ourselves from that regional library system. So, like I say, with the help from the local library board, the city library with Brandon Hines, the Saline County Commission Administrator, and the Salina Public Library, we're all going to be out there tomorrow to try to get some more information to our state legislation to get House Bill 2410 passed onto the floor for a vote. So hopefully we'll hear some good news in the coming weeks on that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, county commission reports?
No, me.
No?
Last week went with Darren up to Topeka. We met with KLPG, KAC, and the League of Municipalities. We heard from the governor. Kind of status quo on a lot of things. They're looking for property tax offsets. That's a big buzzword up there, is how to offset property taxes. So that was it. And then KAC, I don't know if you gentlemen saw it, but Jay Hall is going to resign and go pursue different career paths, so, or different direction. He's still going to be working in the same building he was, but so it'll be interesting to see who they get to replace him. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Burgess?
Several things. One, I'll start with, it's been a few meetings since but I want to recognize Bill. You got an award for being the best damn attorney around, I think, or some sort of award like that. So I want to also say the appreciation I think we have as a commission for your service and the public service you've had for years, but I think that's well recognized within the community, within your own profession, it sounds like, with the other attorneys. So, thank you. Start with that. Attended Hayes Chamber annual banquet. Enjoyed that as always. The winners there are well deserved of their recognition, service to the community and their businesses. Also attended the membership luncheon on Friday. It's Catholic Schools Week, and had a really nice update on TMP and their progress on various programs with TMP. Spent a couple hours with Jeff Ridgway at Dispatch on Friday, getting a little more detail on the approval of the Tyler systems that we approved that last week on there, and just getting a better understanding and just how that's going to move our dispatch and sheriff's department forward into the future with the technology in the cloud, and getting our dispatch basically the envy of maybe most of the state. I'm also submitting my own testimony to the House Bill Committee on the library. So it's on as a commissioner, but not on behalf of the commission. So as myself as a commissioner, but also as the board appointed to the Ellis County Library. So my testimony will be a part of that on Wednesday morning. Then also attended, as I mentioned, the City of Ellis Council meeting last evening. I think that's everything I went through. Had work session last week. I appreciate the commissioners again getting together and just having conversation about the county and what we're looking forward to doing to move forward. So that's all I have for my report.
Okay, ditto on a couple of them, the Friday banquet and then the Hayes Chamber banquet. The chamber banquet, I want to add a little bit to that. When the county has quite a few people that are volunteering for different organizations, which is great. I'm glad to see that. I always say it like a broken record up here: if you can volunteer, go do it. Well, I guess some of them are listening, and which is good for our county and our community. Then I did go to the FSA, or the conservation banquet. There again, they appreciated all three commissioners and the funding that we do for them, and it goes to, good people that have worked hard to get those. And then also, I did go to the recovery court, which was number 71 that we've graduated. I missed the last one last week, but that's great. I mean, if we can save a life and a lot of family and a lot of people that it involves in case they do that thing that we don't want them to do. So, and there is no executive session, and I will adjourn at 9:45.